Hello everybody, welcome back to Samurai Films and the final episode of the Legends of Hollywood Season 1, Series 1. You know, as promised, I am going to finish the series and I'm going to do it right now with this final video. It might get long. I'm reworking. There might not be a lot of skits, as many as I intended, but that's fine. I don't want to make a long video for a long video's sake. It's gonna be long enough because we have 3 movies to talk about. First time, yeah, and it's the first time because Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 don't count as 2 movies. These 3 movies, I actually have a lot to say about 2 of them. One more than another of those 2, and then the third one, I don't have all that much to say, and the way that I'm going to talk about them is gonna be the order, sort of counting down what my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie is. You'll have to watch the video if you care enough to see that, I guess. So yeah, since it might be a long video, feel free to get comfortable. This is your last chance to go to the lobby and check in at the Samurai concessions, because we are about to take off. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do with this, but welcome to my headquarters. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's start off with the first movie that we're going to talk about. Or maybe we can roll an intro. Who knows?
Who the fuck is Samurai?
At the starting line, never-ending race. What I've got inside, it's a cold place.
Who's talking shit about my second, possibly, favorite Quentin Tarantino?
It's a new life, it's a new mind, and I will never. The time is now. I can't contain myself. I've never felt so alive. The time is now. Past the breaking point, I set my soul on fire. The time is now. The time is now.
The fuck did I tell you?
Who? Oh yeah, you from Jackie Brown.
Hello, my name is Sam. I'm going to start reviewing movies.
Come down and instead of like trying to like say anything or be like, hey, what's going on, they shoot fucking rockets at him.
Oh my god. My name is Samurai, and this
The time is now. I can't contain myself. I've never felt so alive. The time is now. Past the breaking point, I set my soul on fire. The time is now. The time is now.
So since this is the first one that we are talking about, one might think that I don't like this movie at all. That's just not the case. I do like the movie. I don't love it as much as I might love other Tarantino movies. But I will say, first and foremost, that this is probably not my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. But, you know, that could change because there's so many other movies that he has, and sometimes I may not be feeling some of them. But why does the Hateful Eight fall short to me? Does it fall short for other Tarantino fans? Well, I'm curious whether or not that last question is being asked. So let's go ahead and talk about it, I guess. Is that what we do on my channel now? Keep that in the video. The Hateful Eight is a 2015 film written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. Because you didn't already know, this whole series has been about Quentin Tarantino. It's accompanied by a fucking star-studded cast. with some new faces and some familiar faces, and all of those faces are doing a fucking good job with this script and with this dialogue. So big props to them. So the cast, they kind of have to do a good job because a lot of the script relies on the dialogue. I know, shocking for a Tarantino movie. That's because that this is a adaptation from a stage play, I believe. Yes, it's stage play, not a musical. I have musicals in my mind though, but that's for another time. Which is a good and bad thing for me, and also this is just my opinion, so don't take it to heart, I guess. If you really love this movie, more power to you. So, quickly to sum up what the Hateful Eight is about, well, in the middle of winter in Wyoming, a group that consists of all of our characters, basically, get trapped inside of a cabin, an inn, whatever you want to call it, from the Old West. It makes it impossible for them to travel because of a blizzard that's going on. It creates a lot of tension inside of this inn. That's where Tarantino starts to put his little touches in. While we're on the subject of characters, let's go ahead and focus on that. Some characters like to keep their secrets, and then some characters are more upfront with their confrontations about things. I don't know if I said that sentence right, but yet, who do we got? We got Samuel L. Jackson, Kurt Russell, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Walton Goggins, Dimitri Tim Roth, Michael Madsen, Bruce Dern, James Park. I don't know if I bent the trail off like that or if I just really don't know how to write legibly. What I'm trying to say is there's a lot of characters. There's a lot of big names in this cast, and they're acting the shit out of their roles. And it's a great strength to the film. And if you're really big into Tarantino characters, that alone should be enough to... I chose weird angles and weird locations to film this, weird positions to hold my microphone. Another strength that the film has is suspension and tension. A lot of that is brought by Jennifer's character. No way I'm going to try and pronounce her last name again. Daisy. Because when we first meet her, she's being held captive by Kurt Russell's John Ruth. Right away, we are told that she's a part of a outlaw gang and is very dangerous. But throughout most of the movie, she just sits around and gets the shit kicked out of her. But as soon as John Ruth is killed, spoilers, due to being poisoned, we get to see just how dangerous this woman can be with her words, as she tries to convince Walton's Sheriff Mannix character to set her free and kill Major Warren, Samuel L. Jackson. Of course, the suspense and tension builds to a big reveal, and overall, I think it's pretty satisfying to see. I can sit here and point out all the good parts about the movie, which is a majority of the movie. It's a good movie. It's just there's a lot of things that you kind of have to put up with if you're not that big into Tarantino. And I only bring it up because one thing I will say is that I only like the movie because I'm a big Tarantino fan. Even I can admit that the movie can feel slow at times, but I don't see that as a major flaw of the movie, because one, I could be the only person that thinks that, or two, even with the slow parts, they aren't really frequent enough to actually really fully negatively affect the movie for me. But then again, that's also just me. But I feel like I had to mention it because I feel like I wouldn't know how to talk about the movie if I didn't. Nope, no hate. I could still recommend the movie if you are a fan of Tarantino's movies. If you're not, that recommendation isn't as, strongly backed, but it's still a recommendation altogether. Just be ready if it's not the most exciting film. It is a stage play, so yeah. Other than that, the stage play source material, Tarantino did a great job with it. Unfortunately, I don't have all that much else to say about The Hateful Eight, so yeah. So now we are at a movie that I actually have specific things that I can talk about. A lot more detail than... Of course, I want to talk about the characters in this movie. I'll split them up into the good guys and the bad guys. And the first being the Bastards. Now, I think all of the Bastards are fantastic. I won't even begin to try and highlight all my favorite. No, I want to talk about what makes the Bastards so awesome. And that's because they are a bunch of Jews hunting, killing, and scalping Nazis in World War II. And that's what makes the majority of the action more satisfying to watch in this movie, knowing that it's the people that are being specifically targeted fighting back in a brutal way. It's more than satisfying to watch. But what helps is the cast delivering excellent performances, while Tarantino and the crew deliver on everything else, from the setting to the cinematography and the music. And actually, let's just move on to the next section, because Here, I'm going to talk about one of the greatest movie scenes of all time. You already know which scene in Inglourious Basterds considered one of the best scenes in cinema. You already know. It's the scene where Leonardo DiCaprio burns Hitler's top command with a flamethrower. Wrong scene. Wrong movie. No, it's the scene that kicks off the movie of Inglourious Basterds, not Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. The scene where Christopher Waltz, who plays Colonel Hans, and yes, the first scene of the movie is masterfully crafted and showcases just how well Waltz portrays Colonel Hans, or Hans. I'm just gonna call him Hans. I don't want to call him Colonel Hans. You know. Watching this scene kind of cements the fact that you're supposed to probably just be completely uneasy, unnerved, and just on the edge of your seat every time that Hans is on screen. Because of this scene, you are probably going to be the most fearful of Hans, guaranteed, or your money back. But to go even further, Hans doesn't even have to say anything or do anything before you know just how dangerous he is. Because right before the scene kicks off, you see the year. The scene's masterful. And the scene where Waltz has Cliff and Ryan captured is another great scene as well, showing just how quickly Hans can just flip your expectations super fast. The other bad guys are also good in this movie, but let's be honest, they're not on the levels of Christoph Waltz. But don't discredit, they are all fantastic, very complex characters. I mentioned before about the cinematography and stuff was all great. So pretty much that's all I have to say. I could talk about the cinematography, music, fit this time very well. Set design, costumes, all really, really good. And it's taken me a while. Here we are. Chat. We did it. It took me a while because I was trying to figure out what exactly I was going to say about the movie. There's a lot.
Break it down for me.
I'll break it down into 3 sections. So, for the last time this season, let's get into what has become my favorite film from Quentin Tarantino, Django Unchained. At this point, if you're a fan of Quentin Tarantino, you probably know what to expect from him, or you know what you want. And here you pretty much get all of that. All of his trademarks are here. Now, what I personally, look for is completely different from what other people might be looking for. So for me, everything I want in a Tarantino movie is in here, plus so much more. Dialogue, characters, set design, costume design, action, cinematography, and music. It's all fantastic. And let's start off with the dialogue and the character. It's really quite amazing the way that Tarantino can write dialogue for the characters, where it's very serious dialogue, but the way that our actors here can portray it comical at times. When Django is learning stuff from Dr. Schultz, or when Django gets to pick out his costume for when he goes undercover to get to Calvin Candy. So we get to see some incredible performances. We get some great side characters, and then we also get probably the most disgusting of Tarantino villains. You get some awesome action that is some of the best action in all of Tarantino films. The final shootout in this film is just, it's so good. It's so fucking awesome to watch. Great. That's great set pieces, costumes, cinematography, and amazing soundtrack. It's everything that you want from a Tarantino movie. I won't dance around this part. This movie's brutal, and I mean that in that the violence in this movie, because Tarantino is presenting a certain time in America where slavery and racism was the normal. And here Tarantino doesn't shy away from showing you what human beings were capable of doing to other human beings back during this time. And even the stuff shown here isn't a full representation of everything that went down. But the stuff that he shows here, he does not shy away from. He does not pull punches, so you have to be ready to see some very, very violent actions being portrayed on screen. And it's uncomfortable, and it's supposed to be uncomfortable. You're not supposed to feel right watching these scenes. And if you do, then there's something wrong with you. But that's an important part, is that this is a period piece, and it's important to be as authentic as possible. And Django Unchained can be highly exaggerated, but when it comes to the slavery, it's the most grounded theme of the movie. And it makes sure that the audience leaves still with the thought in their mind that slavery and racism is never okay and never allowed. At the end of the day, we are all human beings. To sort of wrap this up, Django is a film that anyone can watch as long as they understand what they're in for. The scenes surrounding slavery are really unsettling and not in a good way. If you're a Tarantino fan, everything you want is here, plus all kinds of other things that you didn't even know you wanted. One of Samuel L. Jackson's most memorable performances to me as Calvin's servant Steven. Or you get to see the KKK being portrayed as realistically as they are in real life, as a bunch of bumbling idiots. I didn't even know I wanted to see Jamie Foxx as a badass bounty hunter that became probably my favorite Quentin Tarantino characters and one of my favorite characters in film. But that's what I think makes this movie special, because at the end of the day, watching Django get his revenge on a bunch of nasty racist white people is just fun to watch. I don't really know how to conclude this, so I hope you enjoyed the video. I would appreciate if you left a like and shared the video and subscribed, as if you want to stick around. I guess I will say I hope you at least learned something about film or the films that I was talking about, or just at least entertained in the way that I talk about them. Made you want to go watch them. I don't know. I don't know exactly what I'll be doing next year. I do have things planned going into next year with a better mindset, I think, when it comes to video making and content creation. If I want to call myself a YouTuber, I guess. I don't know. My boss called me a YouTuber, so I don't know. But yeah, because I know damn well that I'm not going to be able to upload another video this year. Not with how long this one's taking me to make. Anyways, this has been Samurai. And I'll see you next year, baby. That's gonna sound fucking awful.